This could be a new series that we do, because I want to cover as many of these as possible. But there was like a thing, this was like a genre of television that I loved more than any other. And it would be a special on at night where it would be a preview of the upcoming new slate of Saturday morning cartoons. There'd usually be, and it would be some like storyline playing out, some actors from ABC or NBC or whatever, and they'd be involved in some kind of storyline that also introduces the new slate of cartoons. Sometimes it would be like the cast of The Love Boat, or there'd be like crossovers where you get like Emmanuel Lewis.
Oh my god!
But it was just so great, and then they'd throw to like a clip of like the Little Rascals cartoon or like the Mork cartoon. I love. So we got to do a series of these. But
hell yeah,
why not start with Tony Danza meets C-3PO and R2-D2? Tony Danza is part of the Star Wars universe, and he's got the right haircut.
Oh,
that is a Star Wars haircut.
Yeah, he's right at home on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
He like pops up between Luke and Han.
Like, he goes to the same barber as Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford at this era. This one, it's such a great crossover too, because it's kind of like it's Tony Danza. Who's the boss is Galen Strong. It's got Star Wars. Star Wars, like after Star Wars is over by the time this thing comes out. This is post Return of the Jedi, and then you combine that with this sort of like President's Physical Fitness Challenge.
That was so big. We would get that with Arnold later in the 90s. Yeah. And introduced Tony as a Golden Glove winner. So he's like really like laying on his boxing background.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what did he have? And I do wonder about like the bona fides. Like how real is
yeah,
this?
That's back in the day. You could like kind of like build your mystique up a little, and they couldn't verify.
Right. Yeah, there wasn't an internet where you could double check.
I watched this like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I was zeroing in on like the VOs too. At the beginning, before this started, it's the America's Funniest Home Video voiceover guy. He's like, so and so will not be seen tonight.
Well, I mean, isn't that Goulardi? Isn't it Goulardi? Like the voice
my god, I think
the voice
yes.
of ABC. Yeah. Who's the boss will not be seen tonight, so you could see. But Mary Lou Retton's there. We got R2-D2 and C-3PO, again, like, talking about the context. Star Wars was over. It was done. It was toast. But then we still had the Droids cartoon and Ewoks. And it's like, oh, cool. There's a little bit of Star Wars, dribbling out. The last gasp, the last gasps of the death throes of Star Wars before its rebirth.
And Tony's copy, or like his dialogue that he's reading too, he's like, my guests are coming in from a long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Yeah, it's a little off the way he says it. They're from a long time ago and a galaxy far away. Here they are. Oh, yo, Angela. Here's C-3PO. R2-D2. Like the cartoon assortment too, because it's like Daffy Duck. And then Ewoks and Droids, like it's kind of funny that like those things are sharing, the same space. The Littles, I don't know if you remember the Littles. That was one of my favorites. And then you have like the Superpowers team, so it's like Super Friends starts getting really good, like right before it is over, right before it ends. It starts getting really good.
Then like the Ewok song, it's like E.
There's a
It's just so funny that song is like that like even that feel. It's like
well, you couldn't have met a bigger Star Wars fan than me in like the 80s, but like Droids and Ewoks, I was like, this is not like I didn't tune in for these. Like at the same time that Droids was on, Mighty Orbots was on another channel, and I would pick Mighty Orbots over Droids. So loved Star Wars, and there was actual like new Star Wars content on Saturday morning, but I just wanted nothing to do with it. Like if they had a cartoon about like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia and Chewbacca, I'd be all about that. But why the Droids? Why the Ewoks? Like
it's the
It's Nicolas Cage singing this thing.
Tony Danza's like, you remember those furry creatures from Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, those Ewoks, they're looking pretty tough. They stay in shape.
Yeah, he's like, the Ewoks known for their muscular, like...
Tony Danza, it's like he's TV's Sylvester Stallone. Like, Rocky comes out, and then it's like, okay, like, we need somebody who's this, you know,
for TV.
For TV. Because it like Rocky's like 76, and then Taxi is like 79.
Taxi, Who's the Boss, and then after Who's the Boss, he's in a couple like Disney movies, and then
Disney movies,
where does he go?
Made for TV movies and stuff. He does kind of disappear. Like, and I do think it's like the haircut, because like next time you saw him was like some point in like the late night. I think didn't he have a TV? He had like a talk show or something.
Yeah, the Tony Danza show.
The Tony Danza show, and it was like he had like an up-to-date haircut. Like
Wrong.
It's
sickening. You're so right, Tom. Because like those Disney movies, he still had like a semblance of that flow.
Because it is like Star Wars hair. It's 70s hair. Like this is 85, but like he stepped off of the set of Saturday Night Fever with that hair. That haircut is standard issue.
But then he has like a reality show at like 2009 or 10 where he's a 10th grade English teacher. And you're right, he has like the George Clooney Caesar haircut in that. And I'm like, it's sickening. It's like, you need your...
Right,
your,
he had like...
Also, I feel bad for those kids learning from Tony
Danza. Like John Travolta went through that kind of arc too. Because like, you know, he has like the Barbarino hair. And he carries that into Staying Alive, like the sequel to... But then... there is a point where, like, he drops that and gets Vincent Vega.
Vincent Vega here goes a little longer.
There's that Santa Claus commercial where John Travolta's dressed as Santa. I think he needs to keep that look. I think that look's working for, like, the Santa look with the beard and, like, the long white hair. Super Friends starts getting interesting around this time. It becomes the Superpowers show. And then next season, it becomes Galactic Guardians, and then it's canceled. Like, they get the injection of Jack Kirby. Then, they introduce the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, which I loved as a kid, and I've revisited some of that too. It like, again, I was
planning on revisiting it.
Yeah, 85, I was like the right age for all this stuff, and of like wanting a little more substance from my Saturday morning cartoons, and they were inching towards like again, the superpowers were getting, and 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, it was getting a little darker, a little
Vincent,
cooler.
Is that Vincent Price?
Yeah.
Yes. And then I love that chest there too.
I know for a fact I saw this when I was a kid, because I remember like the introduction to 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. I know one of the virtues of Scooby-Doo is that it teaches kids about skepticism, that like there's no real ghosts in Scooby-Doo. It always turns out to be like a guy, and there's a logical explanation. But as a kid, I wanted real ghosts. I didn't like that. And so 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, it becomes Ghostbusters.
Yes.
You know, like they are actually fighting real ghosts, and then they have like ghosts that they team up with. And and Vincent Price is their spirit guide.
That's the perfect meeting point between Ghostbusters and Scooby.
Yeah,
Dude,
that like talking...
great prop.
Yeah, great prop.
Mary Lou Retton like pops out.
Yeah, and they have this quiz, this like physical fitness quiz. I remember quizzes being like kind of Trivial Pursuit was kind of big. So like quizzes were becoming a big... There was like the Valvoline National Driving Test. I remember that special. And, there'd be different... And there was like a Trivial Pursuit special also, where it's like all these celebrities sitting around playing Trivial Pursuit. And the one thing I remember... We'll have to look that one up. But I remember from the Trivial Pursuit special, like a bunch of people together, and then like one of them is like asking like, what is all over Wonder Woman's shorts? And then somebody's like, Superman's hands.
On the special.
So I need to find that clip.
Down.
If anybody knows if anybody can track that down, put that in the comments. But like that stuck with me, like to this day. What's all over? And the answer, obviously the answer is stars, but this wise ass was like, Superman's hands. It was Jackie the Joke, man. How pissed was Tony Danza when he wasn't asked to be in the prequels? Like, because he was probably thinking like, okay, they're done making Star Wars movies, but when George starts making them again, I'm gonna be in them. I already did scenes with R2 and 3PO. They're ready for me. Like it's and then the prequels come and he doesn't get to be like one of the Jedi in the back. He doesn't even get to have like some crazy prosthetic. He's not one of the senators. There's that big Senate scene.
No.
He's not one of the senators in the back. He's like, okay, I'll be in the next one. And then like that whole trilogy comes and goes. And he doesn't get a call. And then J.J. Abrams comes and he's like, now's the time. Because J.J., he's way into pop culture. He's a student of pop culture. He remembers. He's the right age. He remembers the 1985 special where I did those. They told me I should have been nominated for an Emmy. For my scenes. It would be a real Emmy because this was prime time. This was a prime time special. This is the first of a series. We're gonna do every single last one of these Saturday morning previews. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Star and the Solar Legion. I'm also the creator of WITCHMAN, a new superhero comic which recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And please follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli, on Instagram at Tom_Scioli, and check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com and search Tom Scioli.
Follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show. And the show that comes on right after this is Benson.
I love Benson.
Coming on right after this.
This might be the last season of Benson. Because I remember as a kid, I think we talked about it, where like it ends with a cliffhanger where Benson is running up against Gene Governor, and they're best friends, and now they're running against each other. And then it's election night. Who's going to win? And I kept tuning. Next week it was a rerun. Week after that rerun. I didn't understand. Like the show was over. I was never going to find out who won the election between Gene and Benson. And I still don't know to this day. I did write a script for a final episode, like an episode that resolves that plot point. Please like, follow, and subscribe to the Total Recall show, and put your comments in here if you remember this one. If you know of a Saturday morning preview special that can top this one of Danza meets the Droids.